Having a partner in college. Balancing college is already hard. Add commuting, add work, add responsibilities, and now add a relationship on top of that. And then the question becomes, how do I make time for someone else if I barely have time for myself? And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Me, myself, I've been in a 6-month relationship with my girlfriend Nancy. And for me, I don't know about you guys, but for me, it's especially harder because she doesn't even go to the same college as me. She goes to a different one. So it's a little bit of a more hassle for me to go make time and see her just because she is further than me. But that doesn't take away the fact that I love seeing her all the time. I enjoy it and I will always make time for her. But let's be honest, time is already so limited between classes, commuting, work, gym, responsibilities, all that and more, and there's just not much left time to spend. So when you're in a relationship, you just can't fit it in your schedule. It can't really just be done like that. You have to make time intentionally for your partner, and that's where things get challenging because your time just isn't yours anymore. It's for everything else. Your responsibilities, her, him, whoever it is. It's not that much, but it'll do. For me, I try to make time for my partner at least once or twice a week because she's very understanding of what I go through, the classes, the commuting, all that. The work, she knows I don't have that much time on my hands. So she is perfectly happy with me seeing her once or twice a week. And her herself, since she's a college student, she also just doesn't have that much time on her hands either. She also works. She's also having so many classes, but she doesn't commute, so she had a little bit extra time on her hands. But either way, it's very hard for the both of us to make time for each other because of just school. School is just so busy, and it's even harder for the fact that me and her don't even go to the same college. And I'm always the one visiting her. I'm always the one who has to go to her. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just because she doesn't have any mode of transportation to come to me, and she lives in DC, so it's practically easier for everybody if I just go to her. But that doesn't mean I'm still being taken time away from my day. It's not easy. It's not really for everybody, I'd say, either. But I do it. I find it worth it because this is also part of my long-term goal. It's not just about my career, but it's just about family and everything. And I see this as a long-term goal of mine. So I never see it as a negative thing, the fact that I have to make time for her instead of working or going to the gym or doing schoolwork, doing a little bit extra schoolwork, getting ahead of my classes. I see everything as it's all for my long-term goals, so nothing in what I do is a waste of my time. Now, don't let this scare you just because you're not focusing on the actual work like school, the gym, or whatever it is, or actually working. Don't take this as something negative, something you're being taken away. Having a partner in college can be a huge positive. I've seen it a lot amongst friends. It can be a huge positive. You have support all the time. A lot of my hangouts with with Nancy were literally just us studying. I would go to her school right after classes. She was super busy with school. I was too. We were both very understanding of that. And what we would do is I would go to her and all we do was just study. Study. And having someone there to support you with your studies is really helpful. It really goes a long way. Another thing is someone who understands your stress. She perfectly understands the stress that I'm going through, especially with school. She knows how hard it is for my day-to-day, just trying to keep up with everything. She really understands. So having someone who understands also really helps emotionally. Someone who motivates you. Like I said, me and her, when we would study, I usually don't really like to study, but when I'm with her and she's sitting down with me, I can study for days. It motivates me so much. It's a real boost in my energy, I'd say. And I'd say the last thing is someone who keeps you grounded, someone who keeps you disciplined, someone who keeps you on your feet, someone who makes sure that you're on the right track. And I believe that's one of the most important ones of them all, because I believe your partner should be someone who uplifts you and takes you to another level of who you are. So I believe that's the most important one. And I know when everything feels busy and overwhelming, it's really hard, but having that one person can really make a difference. It has really made a difference for me. The benefits are really nice. It's a great thing, but like I said in the beginning, it's not easy. It's not easy, especially as a commuter student. I know for the people who stay on campus, it might be easier. You can just go right next door or whatever. But as a commuter student, it's really hard. It is really hard. You can't always stay late. I always hated leaving because I had to go home, go sleep, go take a shower. And it took me a while just to get home and just to take a shower. So I would have to leave semi-early. And I would hate it. It sucked. And you can't always be spontaneous. If you're like, oh, let's go. If it's late too, if it's like, oh, let's go to the movies, or let's go grab some nice food. You can't really always do that because time is of the essence. You already have limited time as it is, and you can't really be spontaneous because then that's just going to take away from the time that you were going to do something else. And it's hard. It's hard to say no. Sometimes I say yeah, but I know I should be saying no because I have other things that I need to be worrying about, other things to be doing. But a little yes won't hurt too much. But there are times where I'm tired. You would feel tired of the day you've already had, and just adding, the other daily activities that you're going to be doing with your partner, it makes it a little bit harder to appreciate because you're just so tired and you can't think about anything else but then being tired. And you're usually stressed, because you're already such on a time crunch. You're wondering about when you're going to be able to do your assignment, or when you're going to be able to do this, if you're going to have time to do that. It's stress. That's the killer too. And you just don't have that much energy. You've already spent it on commuting, on work, on the gym, on anything. You just have so many responsibilities that you have almost little energy. And it can create tension if you're not careful, if you're visibly showing that, it kind of looks like you don't want to be there with her. It can create real tension, and that's never healthy for a relationship, especially if it's not her fault or his or her fault. It's because it's always easy to feel like I don't have enough time or I'm not doing enough. And it's a scary feeling, but you overcome it. I always say you always overcome it. So I wouldn't say don't worry about it, but don't worry too much about it. Another thing I wanted to add is the biggest thing I've learned, and I'm still learning because I'm still kind of new to all this, is that communication is key. Communication. Everything, especially in I guess you can call maybe semi-long distance relationship, is communication. You have to be honest about your schedule. when you are and when you are not busy. You have to be honest. You can't be like, oh, maybe I'll be, no. Because then if you don't have time, it just leads to her disappointment. And if you do it constantly, she or he will get fed up with it. He or she will think that you're just messing around and you're not really taking the relationship seriously. So you have to be honest with your schedule. And another thing is you have to be honest when you are feeling stressed out. Because a lot of the times, I don't know about you guys, but for me, and I've seen it amongst others, is that it's very difficult for me to hide my stress. I pace around, I'm looking into the sky. It's pretty obvious when I'm stressed out, when I'm thinking of what I have to do. And if you're not honest with your partner when you're stressed out and you just zone out all the time because you're stressed out, then she's going to think that you're never fully there. She or he will never think you're fully there, and you're just thinking about everything else but their partner. And another thing is your priorities. You have to be honest with your priorities. If you prioritize school, work, or whatever over your partner, and which is very common and it's very normal, you have to communicate that with them. Say, hey, I know I love our hangouts, whatever, yada yada, but I have to do this. I have to finish my schoolwork. I have to finish my presentation. I have to go do this first before me and you can do anything. And once you communicate those things, I promise you, everything becomes so much easier. And if they're willing to understand, that's the best. That's the best, They're understanding. You get to do what you do. The partner gets to accomplish everything they accomplish. And everything's just smooth sailing from there. And the last thing I wanted to leave off with is that you're not going to get it perfectly. And there is honestly no way to get this perfectly. So expect some bumpy roads. Expect some, decisions that didn't go your way. Expect things to not always go your way. There will be times where school has to come first. You have something, a project, an exam, you have to study, anything. It will come a time where you have to put school in front of your partner and saying, hey, maybe I can't talk right now. Maybe I can't hang out right now. I have to do this first for school. And another thing is that work also should come first. You have to prioritize work. You can't just skip work for your partner each and every time, or maybe like once a week. You'd get fired. That's not how it works. So work should be another priority. And also just life gets busy. Family stuff, stuff comes up. Life is never easy. Life always throws some stuff at you that you will never expect. So expect that busyness. Well, if you are in a relationship while balancing school and work, send this to your partner. I feel like they'd find this maybe relatable, maybe not. Some things for sure. I feel like a lot of the relationships in school have something of a similar quality that I've explained throughout this podcast. Or you can send it to someone who's going through the same thing. I also feel like they find this very interesting, and maybe they'll see a different view of mine. Make sure to follow the podcast. Next episode, we're talking about staying fit. How to stay fit, how to stay healthy while balancing everything. And if you're trying to balance your goals in your relationship, you're not the only one figuring it out. So let me know down in the comment section what you guys thought about it. And I'll see you guys in the next one.